The Labubu Project, The Smile from Within. This recording was found among hundreds of others in the dusty archive of the Toy Design Institute in Hong Kong. The archive label on the box reads Cassette number 047, Toy Prototype Incident. The date on the cassette itself is 2001. Below it, two words are unevenly handwritten. Smile Experiment, Labubu. To this day, no one knows who made this recording, but it is said that after listening to it, most of the old employees refused to continue working on any children's projects. Part 1. The Order. It all began in the late 90s, an era when the toy world was obsessed with brightness and carelessness. A young and incredibly talented designer, Kong Hui, received a commission that at first seemed like his dream job. The clients were representatives of a mysterious European corporation, their faces always inscrutable, their suits perfectly pressed. "Mr. Kong, we don't need another plastic doll. We need a friend. A toy that inspires absolute trust and boundless affection from the very first glance. A child should not want to let it go. He should want to look into its eyes again and again, finding comfort in them. Do you understand? It must be so lovely as to become the center of his world." "I understand. To create not just an object, but an emotion. I accept the commission." Kong agreed, not knowing that this project would become his obsession and his curse. He began his experiment. He was obsessed with mimicry, especially the faces of children. Kong spent hours in the lab's editing room, watching hundreds of hours of archival videos from focus groups. He would ask children to laugh until they cry, to cry from hurt, to scream in fear or delight. He wasn't interested in the emotion itself, but in the moment of transition. That split second when delight is almost indistinguishable from terror, and laughter is about to turn into hysteria. He called it the borderline state of emotion. He cut these frames, splicing them into endless, disturbing sequences, and watched, and watched, and watched. Part 2. Subject 0. A few months later, the first prototype appeared. Kong called it Subject 0. It was a strange figurine, a disproportionately large head on a tiny, almost rudimentary body. But it was all about the eyes. Made from a special multi-layered polymer, they seemed overly, frighteningly alive. Anna, Kong's colleague, her voice anxious. "Kong, this is impressive, but don't you think it's watching? Right at you." "That's the point, Anna. It's supposed to watch, not just be an object, but interact." When Kong showed the prototype to his colleagues, they all, to a man, repeated Anna's words. "The toy looks back." They wrote it off as an optical illusion, a brilliant play of light in the complex lenses of the eyes. That's what they thought, until one night. Security guard, voice on the recording, agitated, speaking into a walkie-talkie. "I repeat, I've reviewed the footage. At 3:17 a.m., Subject 0 fell off the shelf in Kong's studio. By itself, no one was in the room. The windows were closed. But that's not the main thing. Before it fell, I swear I zoomed in on the image. Its eyes, they moved. They slowly turned toward the camera. And then it fell." Part 3. The Smile Experiment. The incident was hushed up, blamed on a draft and a faulty recording. But Kong changed. He locked himself in his studio, calling the new phase of the project the Smile Experiment. He decided he had found the missing element, Not only the eyes had to be alive, but the smile too. The perfect smile. He dove back into his archives, but now he wasn't just studying emotions, he was mixing them. Using a computer program, he superimposed dozens of faces on top of one another, the joy of a newborn, the shock of a sudden noise, the primal fear of a child left in the dark. No, not right. Too simple. Too pure. A smile shouldn't just bring joy. It has to penetrate deeper, look right into the soul. It should be the last thing you see before you sleep and the first thing you remember in the morning. After a week, his colleagues realized that Kong had stopped leaving the studio altogether. The food they left for him under the door was untouched. He didn't answer their knocks. On the 10th day, the head of security broke down the lock. Where is he? Where is everything? The studio was empty. All the drawings, all the videotapes, all the prototypes were gone. The room was sterile, as if no one had ever worked in it. In the very center of the desk stood a single object, a small figurine with big ears and a crooked, toothy smile. Underneath it, on a small plaque, was a single word, Labubu. And on the wall, right above the desk, was a phrase, seemingly scratched into the plaster with his fingernails. It read, "Now he smiles by himself." Part 4. Destroy everything. I don't care where he disappeared to. The project is terminated immediately. All materials related to Kong Hui and his developments are to be found and destroyed, burned, dissolved in acid. I don't care. No traces. And the original of this doll is to be disposed of immediately. That is an order. But the original was never found. The figurine that had been on the desk disappeared from the sealed studio that same night. A few months later, the city was rocked by news. One of the junior designers from the institute, a colleague of Kong's, was found dead in his apartment. The police report was brief and strange. Cause of death undetermined. The deceased, Li Hui, was found in his apartment surrounded by dozens, if not hundreds, of drawings. All of them depicted the same smiling face. On the deceased's desk was a small plastic figurine, smiling. On its base was a signature, Labubu. Part 5. New life for an old fear. Years passed. Kong Hui's story became a corporate legend, a horror story for new employees. And then, in 2018, the famous company Pokmart released a new series of collectible vinyl toys. Their name was The Monsters, and the most popular figurine in the series was a character named Labubu. Cute, strange, with big ears and the characteristic toothy grin. None of the buyers, of course, knew that its design was an almost exact, only slightly softened copy of that very prototype from distant 1999. Hey everyone, and today we have an unboxing of Labubu. Look how cool he is! I bought him on sale. He was the last one left. Those teeth, that little smirk. There's something about him. He's captivating, right? I'm going to put him on the shelf right behind me. He'll be the mascot for my streams. A note for myself. I don't know what's happening. I think I'm losing my mind. This figurine, Labubu, it's changing its expression. I took a photo yesterday and today I compared them in Photoshop. The smile, it's wider, only by a couple of millimeters, but I can see it. And last night, I heard a sound, a quiet laugh, like someone was laughing, but not in the room, but somewhere inside the plastic itself. The original cassette found in the archive ends with these words. My voice is just an attempt to reconstruct what was on it. The last distinct phrases on the tape were spoken in a whisper. He smiles when you look. And then, silence. And only one thing. A child's laughter, that same one, recorded in reverse. La, boo, boo.